I've just realised that my daughter asked me to video this and she thought it might be quite good to go on my channel because I make my own Christmas mincemeat for mince pies, and it is the easiest recipe in the world. I got the recipe out of a book many moons ago because my father-in-law was diabetic and he was coming to visit for Christmas. So I found this recipe, which was a diabetic recipe, and basically you use this mincemeat with some wholemeal flour pastry. I don't actually use wholemeal flour anymore for the pastry, but I did find that the mincemeat was so delicious. I have made it every year since. So I thought I'd take you along, but it is really the most simple recipe you have ever seen. So I've started, but I'll show you what I'm doing because I've not got far into it. Okay, so this is the recipe. Pause your screens if you'd like to take a note of this or a screenshot or something along those lines. This is in my Christmas recipe book, which my daughters very kindly made for me many moons ago when they were much younger. But I use it every single year. And as you can see, there's a few pencil notes in the margins for the mince pie pastry putting together part of it. But this essentially is the recipe. It's really simple. I mean, literally, you just put all of those ingredients, apart from the walnuts, in a pan and cook it for an hour. Job done. It couldn't be simpler. But anyway, I'm going to show you what I'm doing. So first of all, I am grating the apples. I don't core and do whatever. I literally just peel them, take the skins off, and then grate them around the cores, and then sort of put the cores over there, as you can see. So those are the peelings and the core. Okay, so I've put you on my tripod. Hopefully that's a little bit better and you're less wobbly now. A little bit more organised. But it just occurred to me because my daughter said you should video this and then I'd forgotten all about it. The place is probably a mess. There's washing up all over the place. Just don't look, okay? So basically that amount, which is 8 ounces, 225 grams, is mostly 2 cooking apples. And do I measure it that carefully? No. I just do 2 cooking apples, really. I should amend the recipe, shouldn't I? So some of these ingredients, they just come in packets from the supermarkets because, you know, it's Christmas. I also have some bulk, my bulk sultanas and some dried goods that I get from my organic bulk supplier, but not everything I can get from there. So some of the ingredients I just get from the supermarket, and that works for us for Christmas. Right, let's measure this. And it doesn't matter if your apple goes brown because of course the mincemeat will be brown itself, so don't worry if it's going brown. Right, first thing, 8 ounces of currants. 8 ounces of sultanas. 8 ounces of raisins. 4 ounces of dried chopped figs. 'These need to be chopped, so they'll have to come out of the pan again. Okay, so that's the end of the fruit and the sticky stuff. Now I've just got to put in some juice of things and the spices. The other thing I've forgotten is the butter, of course. So it actually says margarine on the recipe, and I think that was because it was for diabetic, but I always use butter. So I'm going to put butter in 2 ounces or 50 grams. It's actually a tiny amount of butter. Very small amount. 2 ounces. Okay, so only that much butter, not much. And the rest of it is pretty much fruit. So. Okay, so the juice is actually juice from our oranges. When the oranges were ripe and they were starting to be attacked by birds, I actually picked them all and processed some of them. So I've got the zest. I take the zest in here, and then what I did was I squeezed all the juice, and these are now little ice cubes. But I can't actually remember how many per orange, but I don't suppose it really matters, does it? It's just, what does it say? Grated rind and juice of 1 orange. What do we think? 2? Yeah. If it's a bit orangey, it doesn't matter, does it? So, oh, it says grated rind and juice. So we're going to need one of these too. Grated rind. I like it to be fairly orangey. I wonder how much, whether 1 would be enough. Should we have a whole one? That's probably quite a lot. Maybe we'll do a 3/4. The lemon is an actual lemon off our tree, so I don't need to test for that. And I like to use my homegrown lemons because, of course, they don't have the wax on it. With the apples, they would have wax on, but of course you peel them. Right. Just estimating for the orange, so that I put in already. Yes, I think that would have been a largish orange, but that'll do. Right, so this is the lemon. I just need to juice it. Got a cut on my finger from gardening. Ow, that is very stingy. Oh. With their little tiny seeds, they won't notice. They'll just get mushed up in the whole thing. Right. Oh, that's stingy. And if you're wondering what I'm doing over there, I actually, on the countertop, I have 2 bins. One of them is citrus and alliums, onions and leeks, and that goes in my chicken poo compost. And if you've not seen the video of all my composting systems, I'll put a link to it up here, wherever. But one of them is chicken poo compost, and that's citrus and alliums. And then the other one is for the worm bin. So that's anything that can go into the worm bin. Normal sort of tea leaves, coffee grounds, fruit peelings, excuse me, vegetable peelings, all that sort of stuff goes into the worm bin. So, right, and eggshells go up here because those actually I grind up and they go back into the chicken coop in their little cup so that they can make new shells. So everything has a place to be in my kitchen, so they all get distributed. Right, what do we need to do now? We've just got the spices. It takes a lot longer when you chat. So I have to say, I'm very much a tidying up as you go type of cook. I find that so much easier. So I'm just putting away all the things that I don't use for the next bit, and then we can crack on with the spices. Right, okay, spices. So what else do we have here? Let's check we've got everything in. 8 ounces of cooking apples, that was just 2 cooking apples. Grated rind and juice of 1 lemon, yep, homegrown in there. Grated rind and juice of 1 orange, yes, homegrown, but processed them in the freezer. Margarine, 2 ounces, yes. Currants, shop bought. Sultanas, shop bought. Raisins, bulk organic. Figs, shop bought. Right, so now I just need to put in cinnamon, nutmeg, mixed spice and mace. I have never been able to find mace in New Zealand, so it's in the recipe, and actually I just make it up with the other things. And I'm actually quite generous with these amounts because I like my mincemeat to be spicy. Right, let's find the spices. There's my ½ teaspoon measure. And I usually do a bit more because, as I say, I don't have the mace. So yeah, ¼ teaspoon of cloves. Here's the ¼ teaspoon again. ¼ teaspoon of cloves. Let's do that first so I don't get confused. ¼ teaspoon of cloves. ½ teaspoon of nutmeg. And I'll do 2 ½ teaspoons of mixed spice. Oh, I've got enough. Yeah, I'll do a bit more because I don't have the mace. There we go. And then ½ teaspoon of ground cinnamon. Right. So that's it, everything in the pan, apart from the walnuts, which go in after it's cooked and when it's cooled. Okay, so the next thing I do is literally just put it on the stove to bring to the boil. It needs to bring to the boil, but I don't do it on a high heat because bear in mind there's just sort of dry fruit at the bottom. I should also mention that I have made an amendment to the original recipe in that my husband doesn't like that sort of candied peel stuff that you have obviously often in mixed fruit. So I'm replace that with fig instead. But you can use candied peel. You can actually replace those ingredients with any other sort of dried fruit that you like. You could possibly put cranberries in, for instance. I really, whatever you fancy. So as you can see now, I've given it a really good mix up and it has come up to the boil. I'm now going to turn it down to a low heat and then I'm just going to put a lid on it. That's it then. I will leave that there for 1 hour and after that I'll just leave it in the pan to cool, and then what you mustn't forget is to chop the walnuts and put them in. Once I've got the minced meat all ready and cooled and in the fridge, when I go to make the actual mince pies, I will make quite a thin, short crust pastry. And I don't make it a sweet pastry because I don't like it that sweet. So I don't put sugar or anything in it. I just make a really simple short crust pastry. And I roll it out quite thin because I like thin pastry. And then I like that sort of homemade mincemeat, which really has, as you've seen, very little butter in it. It has no sugar or anything. You've just really got the natural sugars of the fruit. So I like to think that it makes a healthy mince pie, really. So it's very delicious. And honestly, now I've had my own homemade mince pies with my homemade mincemeat. I actually don't like the shop-bought ones because they're very sweet and the pastry tends to be quite thick and claggy. As you can see now, hopefully, the mincemeat has really sort of melanged down and all sort of gooed together, if you like. Now I'm just going to put these nuts in here. It's cool now, pre-cool. I'll put these in. And then I will need to mix it all up. So that's pretty much it. I'll just give this a good mix. Trying to throw it out of the pan, Jenny, right? I'll just give this a good mix and then I just put it into a big jar and put it in the fridge, and it will be good for at least a week and then until I make the mince pies. When I make the mince pies, I generally do the whole morning of mince pie making, and then I just put them in the freezer. I put some in the biscuit tin obviously to eat, and the rest of them go in the freezer, and then I just pull them out batch by batch as we eat them over the festive season. And I do like these mince pies. They are absolutely delicious, and I always feel I'm eating them. They're quite healthy, really, aren't they? Yeah. Now I might add a tablespoon of brandy in here just to give it a bit of a
something different. But that'll be it. I'll just basically put it in a jar and put it in the fridge. And as you can see, it was so quick and so easy. And it tastes so much better than the stuff you get in the shops. And it's much better for you, because when you look at the labels on some of that stuff, it's pretty rubbish. It's definitely hyper processed food. And this is some organic, some homegrown, but certainly you can tell what's gone in here. Anyway, that's it from me. Hopefully I'll finish with a shot of it all in jars and ready to go. And I will see you next time. Bye. Merry Christmas.